And good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, depending on wherever you find yourself in the world today. My guest is settled in Fargo, North Dakota, where it is warming up. I am in Finland at the moment, and it is like record highs here. It's amazing. People are sunbathing. It's 78 degrees. It never gets this warm. But anyways, that was not the purpose or is not the purpose of today's episode. I'm bringing Denise on because, when I'm speaking a lot about principles of experience or I talk about thought being fundamental to our human experience, some of the kickback I often get is, well, that's great for people that don't have real problems. Okay. So I'm bringing Denise on today because Denise, this is her business. She is a resilient speaker. She's a music. She's a mom, and she actually lost one of her children to a car accident when her daughter was only 17 years old. Denise has also been through divorce. She's been through loss of loved ones. So I think, Denise, you categorize as someone that people would proclaim have had real problems. So welcome to the show, Denise.
Thank you, Amy. I am truly honored to be here on this show. This is amazing.
Perfect. Well, I also should, I guess, make a disclaimer for listeners that Denise is also my apprentice. So she's been working with me already for several months on solidifying her understanding of what we call the three principles. Sometimes I refer to it as subtractive psychology. Basically, that's just a fancy, bunch of fancy terminology to just mean we're talking about how human experience actually happens. So, Denise, I'm going to put it in full speaker view now for you. My first question is, what do you wish you would have learned in school?
I wished I would have learned in school to understand the resilient part of myself rather than being flailed all over the place. Maybe it's this person's ideas that, anchor me, or maybe it's that person's ideas, instead of being taught how to learn to listen to my own inner voice and inner wisdom. That for me.
I'm sure there are listeners that are nodding their heads in kind of acknowledgement with what you've shared about that piece of being so pulled or influenced by the good ideas of people around us, whether it's well-meaning parents or good friends, husbands, wives, children, even. So let me ask you, Denise, what was the flavor of your life? What did life look like before you had this realization of resilience?
Well, first off, I'm reflecting back to myself as a young child. And so I was always fired up about life as a young girl. I mean, I remember coming into this world seeing things as seeing this world as this big, sparkling, beautiful ball of um, like a diamond. And also like a big shopping mall where there's just all these life experiences to try on and cute outfits and here and there and everywhere. But as I grew older, it was almost, tying it back to what we should have learned in school. Um, it was like my daydreaming or my vision for what I saw, the beauty in the world was, I took it as being dumbed down. Bring that down a little bit. You've got to be more realistic. You're not grounded. You're, you know, a lot of well-meaning left brain people in my world. And so prior to coming on board with this work and some other things in my life and some other things of understanding, I wasn't understanding how people work. I was, trying to see where I would fit, but I wasn't understanding that all of us have a different coping style or a different survival mode. And so life before that was just thinking there was always something wrong with me, or thinking that what is wrong with these other people, myself? Am I just that weird that I see these amazing things and I see music and artistry and conversation as fun and exciting? And that's not normal?
Yeah. So how is life now? What are you up to now? Has this come? I'm curious to know, has that sparkle for life, that zest for life come back into your experience, or does it look like something else now?
It's been a gradual process. It has definitely not been an overnight process. In fact, I'm coming on 15 years. My family's coming on 15 years since my daughter Amanda's passing. And it's been 5 years since my marriage of 24 years fell apart. And it's been recreating my whole life, my whole structure, my whole being, my how I relate to my children, my parents, my work environments, my relationships with people, period. Um, and so the sparkle has been gradually coming back, and even most recently, more and more, because I feel more anchored and grounded in myself. It doesn't mean that I don't have things come up or my emotions aren't triggered, or but I feel this sense of anchoring because I've in this journey I have really connected with my inner self of resilience, and that has been something that's been outside of me until this specifically I can't talk specifically in this last couple months in our work together. It's really taking all these pieces now and really dialing it down and anchoring it in, and so I feel more purposeful, and I'm more like I don't get as worked up if my plans don't work out as I thought they should. Like there's more possibilities. Even though I had the understanding of the coping styles, like that has been in my world now since 2007, and understanding how people work at the core with their language, inner language and outer language. Neither one of us are good, bad, right, or wrong. Find a middle space to communicate or not communicate, waiting, timing, right?
Mm.
When to speak or not speak. For myself, finding when I've had internal arguments with myself, where's middle ground in here? And when I talk to people outside of me in my relationships with my children, and really working to um, offer more grace, self, more forgiveness, finding those things within myself and my resilience, the resiliency piece, and then moving forward to meet people where they are
Mm.
versus trying to change them.
Yeah, that's so helpful to see. And I'm
Listening.
sure, yeah, 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 yeah. And I'm sure, that some listeners have heard a little bit about your story and they've been really hooked by the circumstances that you have encountered in your life. So, how did you get through it? How would you define resilience?
Mhm. Well, I first of all want to acknowledge all the people on my journey, my whole life's journey, past, present, and even future, whoever that is coming in. For me, having the support as my life has gone through all these transitions has been huge for me, has been huge. Granted, people have their own life experiences. Not everyone has been able to stay with me. I've not been able to stay with everyone either. Um, but I don't look at that as a good, bad, right, or wrong thing anymore either, because we are transitioning, and sometimes when we try to hold on to people, places, and things, or we feel guilty because we're letting them go, or they've let us go. I've recognized that there's purpose in all of that, and when our journey and when we're evolving and we're expanding into different arenas, not everybody can go with us, or nor we can take everyone with us, or we're meant to be in their lives. I've really come to an acceptance of that part. But I want anybody who listens to this, I have never forgotten your role in my life, and what you did at that season in my life was so meaningful to me. Um, and I've never forgotten that, and I carry that in my heart, and that comes through in the songs that I have out right now, and I know the songs that come in the future. Um, that is the true part of myself, and music is something that I can still be with people no matter where my life is. I know that they're getting a piece of me that is authentic and true. And so that's the first piece of resilience for me. Second of all, when I reflect back and I look back, and one of the very first notes that I found from my daughter after she passed away was, God doesn't give us more than we can handle. Remember this and be strong. And she was pointing to resilience for me right at that moment. And realizing that no matter all of these traumatic things that have happened to me, there's been this aspect of me that has carried me through. And it's always in looking back. It's interesting. It's not when you're in it. It's when you've come through a piece. And it's like lifting weights. You know, it's a little bit and you're like, oh, I got through that piece. Okay. Well, here comes another thing. And you're lifting and you're lifting. And there's these heavy experiences, but your resilient self, your innate being, your inner wisdom, God, is always there. And it's a muscle that we build, that God builds with us. But we have to see it. And that's what's brought me through, is being able to see it and being able to feel it, even amongst the most tumultuous times. And I didn't think I could make it through, and I wanted to kill myself, and I didn't want to be here. That little voice was still there, that little big voice, really. I still was able to find, in the midst of the darkest moments, I was still able to hear it, and I was still able to sense it and feel it. And that's what resiliency is to me.
So when I hear you speak, Denise, I'm not hearing you advocate or recommend behaviors or things for listeners to do.
No.
Yeah, it's quite different than what I've studied or heard a lot of. Well, I know we're getting kind of short to the end of the show. It's such a fun experiment to try to crack into 10 to 15 minutes what I used to put into an hour show. But my question to you is, if there's someone listening right now that maybe is experiencing hopelessness or is experiencing suicidal thoughts or ideation, what would you want that person to know today?
There really is hope. You're not alone in this. You feel like you're alone. Go beyond that you have no business being on this planet, that you are unworthy. Go beyond and know that you're not alone, and reach out to someone right close to you. Just make the phone call. Someone that you know that is not going to judge you, that is going to listen and let you just get it off your chest. Again, that's where I'm so grateful that I've had people in my world. And when I was this close, and trust me, I've had experiences I really should not be here. But listen to that inner voice, that other soft voice inside yourself. Listen to that one. And take a breath. Just take a breath. 3 breaths in and out. Small little to-dos, and I don't mean it in to-do. This is from your being. From your being. It's not another like, oh, it's in here. And reach out and talk to someone. That there are people that will listen. Call me. I may be talking right now, but call me. Let's have a practical hope conversation. And that means you just getting this out with no judgment. Sometimes we just need a dump. We don't need advice. We just need someone that's going to listen, not going to try to fix it.
That's so refreshing, Denise. Well, I'm definitely going to put your contact information in the show notes. And then where can people reach out to you as well? People that maybe are too busy to read, but can maybe hear it from an audio perspective.
Well, they can go to my website, DeniseMarieGaber.com. All my contact information is in there. They can email me, DeniseMarieGaber@gmail.com. Pretty simple.
Perfect. Your name.
And I'm on Facebook. I'm on Facebook. You can message me on Facebook. That works too. You can also find me on YouTube. There's a couple of my songs that inspired by my daughter's passing.
Perfect. That sounds great. And one more. See, I thought it was done, but I have one more question. You did mention God in this interview, and I'm curious of what do you mean by God? Because that might be a really loaded term. People may come with a lot of ideas of how they use the word God, but let's clarify for them of what you meant by that, by using God.
Oh wow, yeah, that is to me. It's the inner voice.
Mm.
It's it's beyond the reptilian brain, if you will, the survival mode brain. I've been on a journey there searching for God in many different modalities of religion, New Age, even having a point in my life where I would say I was agnostic. I would never say atheist because I've always believed that there's something beyond me, but is also very connected to me. It's a beautiful relationship. And but I went through a phase where I'm like everywhere I went, whether I went to church or I was involved in the New Age communities, I felt so disappointed and feeling deceived, or like I was seeing everybody still had stuff that didn't matter how spiritual they were, how religious they were battling with stuff. And I'm like, how can this God be? Where is this peaceful God that everybody talks about? And so for me, I have discovered that I can see God in everyone, all of us human beings have that spark. We have God within us. But it took me going to find that God wasn't something that I could just get the quick fix out here from everybody else. It was a journey to find God within me. And for me, God means that pure, clear place where there is no confusion, there is no doubt. It just is. It just is. It's what Jesus pointed me to my whole life. And that, I grew up in the Catholic faith, and I've tried on every other faith there is to find. And I'm grateful for all of those. And I'm grateful for all the New Age experiences that I've had. But now I know that God is in here first and foremost. God is found in my heart. That is what God is to me. And it's, again, what I know now, that what Jesus was pointing this whole time for me. And Buddha or anyone, whatever name you want to put, you know it. You know God, it's in here. And then you can really see the reflection of God and everything else from a different perspective.
It's really, really glad I asked that question. I hear when you speak an intelligence that goes beyond religion or our ideas or good and bad behavior. It's much deeper than that. And yet also quite simple when we take off all the assumptions, all the beliefs, all the projections, human projections onto what God is.
Yeah. Coming back, I feel like I'm full circle, and not just full circle, but like almost like a spiral, like it's been a spiraling of coming up. And faith to me has such a different perspective. And when I see the cross and all those things, the symbology of that is really the anchoring, just up and down anchoring of having faith and being part of this life again from a different experience, and then reaching out to receive and to give and be connected to the world from such a different place. And so, at one point where I would have looked at the cross as survival, I see it with much clarity. It speaks to me completely different. And it speaks to me truly of grace and forgiveness. And to meet humanity and people wherever they are. It doesn't matter to me. This is what I want people to know. It doesn't matter to me your background. I love humanity. I love people, and I'm here to serve. And whatever label you are in, or whatever faith you're in or not in, I'm here to listen without judgment, to the best of my ability, and to offer grace, because the grace that has been given to me and the forgiveness that I have felt from within, I wish to offer without. And so thank you for having me on your show, Amy.
Thank you, Denise. Thank you. Again, my name is Amy Leo. I'm the host of What We Should Have Learned in School, and you can learn more about me and the work I'm up to in the world at amyleo.com. Until next week, stay curious, take care of yourself and one another, and keep rocking. Thank you, Denise.
Thought I was done, thought I was through, over us and over trust, over her and over you. Although I tried, I couldn't deny, I lost my way, got swept away, lost my strength and lost my place, torn apart. Help me mend the broken part. Just when you think you're broken, the hardest words unspoken, you get up and rise, wipe the tears from your eyes. You see that you're better off broken than to never been broken open.